Hello guys and welcome back to a G-Swar episode, and today we're back speaking about a certain driver, one particular driver, and I thought I'd switch it up today. And that driver at question is Gibbo. I'm really confused these days. I'm not really understanding the vibe around the Gibbo name. Is it World Championship caliber, future World Championship caliber vibes, or is it just a really good midfield driver who can, solid, always rely on him, and is an asset to whatever type of team you're looking for? Whether that's a young team, a smaller, younger team which want to grow, or as a team looking for a number two driver. So, a little bit on edge with the vibe I'm getting from Gibbo. The reason I've decided to do this video about Gibbo is because, other drivers in, similar positions or around similar, same place or similar place they are in the championship, such as Charlie Dore, Midget Matt, I feel like they've shown a little bit more for us to kind of say, given the opportunity, they'll be able to fight for a world championship, or at least have that debate. With obviously Charlie Dore, we've seen what he's done. Last season finished P5 in the driver standings. Still hasn't won a race, let's not forget, just like Gibbo. I think he's shown enough to, on his day, challenge for a race win. And obviously, the more time you're challenging for the race wins, for those podiums, all the points add up to the championship. Maybe not now, but maybe for the future. Midget Matt, same thing. I mean, Midget Matt's been in G-Swar for a long time. I think now actually he's top 5 all-time race starts. And yeah, he's shown more than enough signs to tell us that on his day he's able not only to win races, but I think if he can, have a good string of races, he can really put on a championship charge, which is why I'm making this video about Gibbo, because I'm not quite sure where he is. He's kind of in the middle, in the middle of that. But yeah, anyways, let's get into it. The reasons why I think Gibbo could potentially challenge for the championship in the next, 2 to 3 seasons, because his consistency. He's a very consistent driver. You look at his record, not only consistent when it comes to turning up to races, but consistent when it comes to performing in races. I think when you look at his race history from last season, what's that? Qualified P10, finished P5, qualified P9 at Australia, finished P4 in the race and P7 in the sprint. Alright, Qatar wasn't as good, but then Canada goes from P16 to P8. That's a good drive at Coda. P4 in quali, sprint and the main race. At Monza, P7 in quali, P8 in the sprint, and P3, getting that podium. P5 at Belgium, P5 at Silverstone. So yeah, these are definitely solid finishing positions. Which is why I think, give him a couple more seasons, he could potentially be fighting for the championship. And some people may be like, "Oh, chick, you're lying here. Why are you saying this? It's a bold statement." But let's not forget Hurricane. Hurricane, in his early days, he was very raw. I always love to go back to Hurricane because, Hurricane used to struggle a lot. In that first season especially. The second season he kind of chilled. He was on the podium much more. His aggression kind of went down because his race pace went up. Obviously, he got that win at that famous race at Coda, where someone may have got disqualified. I'm not going to say any names, but he showed those signs, and that good season, in the space of 2 seasons, he'd gone from, I think at Australia he was lapped in his debut at Australia. I think he was lapped like twice, to challenging for a world title 2 seasons later and missing out by 2 points. So it just shows how quickly things can change in G-Swar, and I think, Gibbo, I think he's got time. He's still got time to improve and reach those same heights of, potentially winning races and who knows, maybe putting on a championship fight in the next 2, 3, 4 seasons. I think it'd be very interesting to see his development. And another reason is that you know, his qualifying pace isn't, I know it's not the best, but his race pace is definitely very good. I know that kind of links in with the consistency. But as I said, at Japan, qualified P10, finished P5. Australia, qualified P9, sprint P7, race P4. You know, Canada qualifies P16, race P8. These are very good finishes. It's at Monza, qualifies P7, sprint, alright, P8 in the sprint, goes down one position, but then ends up on the podium. So at Silverstone, qualifies P9, race P5. So definitely, I think, you know, he's very focused on the race pace, and I think that's the important thing. Yeah, qualifying is important. Hurricane's shown that the most in the last, you know, 2-3 seasons. That qualifying is very important. You know, getting that pole position, getting a good launch, getting that clean air, leading the race, dominating the race. We saw it countless times from Hurricane last season. We saw it at Saudi Arabia. We saw it at Coda. You know, we saw it at so many races. I think Japan, alright, Japan, he didn't lead the whole thing, but, you know, converted that pole position to a win. At Brazil, I think he got pole position at the final race last season, ended up winning. So definitely, qualifying is important. But on the other hand, you look at other drivers, great drivers who've won championships, such as, you know, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but my qualifying was never the best. I think in Gen 3 I only managed to get 3 pole positions, and then I managed to, you know, win, I think it was 12 races in Gen 3. So definitely qualifying it's important, but it's not everything. You know, you can still, I'd rather have a car suited for the race than qualifying. I think that's what Gibbo is doing here. You know, we just need him now to improve it. Obviously, you want to start as high up on the grid as possible. I'm not saying start last and make your way up the grid every race, but definitely, you know, focusing on race pace is the main priority. And I think Gibbo does that very well. He does that very, very well. I mean, you look at even guys like Luigi, you know, he never really got pole position, but what he did in Gen 3 Season 4, he was winning races quite frequently. You know, there's another example. And at the end of the day, race pace and consistency, that's what wins championships. I mean, look at Hurricane back in Gen 3 Season 4. He wasn't the fastest guy that season. Luigi was. I think we all agreed on that. I think Hurricane even said himself, but he still ended up winning the championship, not only because he turned up consistently, but because he was consistently quick. You know, that doesn't mean winning every race. That means even when you do have a bad race, it's damage limitation. I think Gibbo does that very well. I mean, it feels like every race he gets front wing damage, falls down to last, and ends up P5. That's literally his race, every race. So yeah, that's what it is. However, now let's get on to the other side. Reasons for him not being a future world champion. And now I'm gonna kind of, you know, backtrack on my word. I'm gonna, you know, sound like a little bit of a lunatic, a bit of a hypocrite. But qualifying, you know, I know I just said qualifying pace isn't everything, but if you're qualifying down in P16, if you're qualifying down in P9, P10, P13, how are you gonna, you know, yeah, sure, you can come back through the grid, but already you're giving yourself a lot of work to do, you know, when starting from far down. Now, I'm sure his qualifying pace will improve. As I said, this is future Gibbo we're talking about. You know, I'm predicting Gibbo's future, not his present right now, you know. So I'm sure that will improve, but if he wants to fight for that championship, that's got to improve. And do I see signs of that improving? I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, the season's just got underway. Race 1 he didn't attend. I mean, neither did a lot of people. So I think from Australia onwards, that's when we'll be able to gorge, you know, have a good reading. And he said himself, I think, you know, I was talking to him in the paddock the other time. He said you should only judge a driver in their 3rd season, you know. And he is going into his 3rd season now, so it'll be very interesting to see how he can go. And another reason why he may not be able to be that next, you know, reach the next step of being a future world champion is that damages. You know, he's always getting caught up in some lap 1 incident. You know, maybe spinning on the first lap, maybe it's front wing damage. I mean, obviously I'm not saying it's his fault, it's just unlucky if someone hits you, you know, you get turned. But sometimes, I don't know, I mean, obviously off the top of my head I can't think of any incidents really where he's been at fault, except for at Qatar when he tried making that dive bomb on Skin Dog and ended up spinning out himself, you know. But apart from that, yeah, not really anything, but obviously you can kind of try and prevent incidents from happening from, you know, maybe getting out the way, getting out the power or something. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, definitely. Either way, that's gotta reduce. You know, obviously it's great seeing him come back through the field, but you don't want to be in that position to come back through the field. You could be showing your pace, battling for podiums. You know, so yeah, it's interesting. But you know, after seeing some drivers improve drastically, guys like Dakota, I mean, he was getting lapped back in season 1. Season 5, you look at him, you know, finishing on the podium so many times, could have won a race. Hurricane took him 2 seasons to fight for a championship, so this video didn't come out of the blues. You know, I've been thinking about it for a while, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys can enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, I'll see you next time.